Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 18th day of February 2024. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. Hope your family's safe and healthy on this Tuesday. And if you're like me and you had yesterday off for the President's holiday, I hope you enjoyed your day off and your long weekend. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders and those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, as well as those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are helping those that are victims of prostitution and victims of child prostitution, victims also of pornography and victims of child pornography. Helping those that are victims of human trafficking and those that are victims of sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators of these things. Double curses upon all those who profit from these things. And double curses on all the perverts that create the great demand that causes these things to actually exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and veterans homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. I want to follow up from yesterday's video. One of the things that makes a very bad look for KnicksNation is the two habits. Number one habit is being negative or bringing out negativity when a player is traded. It annoys me to no end. Especially a guy like, I was getting a lot of negative comments about Jericho Sims. He did this and he didn't do that because Tibbs gave him a chance and he didn't improve and blah, blah, blah. The trades that the Knicks are making under the Don are in generally trying to help the player who doesn't fit in the rotation. You should, if you're a real Knicks fan, you should never be negative. And I don't want to hear the truth. I'm telling the truth. Bull crap. You're just being negative and you're putting your vomit on Knicks players. If you're a real Knicks fan and you see a guy like Jericho Sims it's clear to me that he put his heart and soul into the team trying to get better, you don't be negative about him. You wish him the best. That's the classy thing to do. The unclassy thing to do is to sit on your keyboard and put out all your crap. That's number one. Number two, when there's a change made or a suggestion of a change, which I made yesterday with the starting of Precious Achiuwa, it is not time to crap all over Josh Hart. Josh Hart doesn't do this and Josh Hart is weak in that. That's not why we suggest the change. And third, please don't comment before you listen to the video, because it's so obvious some of you guys look at the thumbnail and you start commenting, thinking you understand what the video is about and missing important points that were made that could have addressed the things you commented on. So, Precious Achiuwa. The reason I suggest starting Precious Achiuwa and bringing Josh Hart off the bench is, number one, Josh Hart is having a career year. So, why would we put him on the second unit? One of the reasons that Josh Hart would be on the second unit with Mitchell Robinson is because Mitchell Robinson would be on the second unit, number one. And Josh Hart is not on the strong suits of Josh Hart: rebounding, defense, and playmaking. The dude makes big time playmaking. You know, he has won games for the Knicks with his playmaking, especially at the end of games. And so you add playmaking to MobbDeep. You have Deuce, you have Josh, and then you have Mitchell Robinson as your core. I'm not saying Tibbs is necessarily going to do this. It was the title of the video was The Case to Start Precious Achiuwa. I think he can do that. And he might do that because now you put in Precious, you miss playmaking with Josh Hart. There's no doubt about it. You miss playmaking. You're taking playmaking out the lineup. And somebody mentioned that because Josh is really good at cutting without the basketball, Brunson knowing where Josh Hart's going to be on the floor and finding him when he needs to in critical situation, which is a good point. But Precious is also a very high IQ player. He gets to open spots and he moves very well without the basketball. So you're going to miss the playmaking of Josh Hart, but you're going to add the 1 through 5 defensive ability of Precious Achiuwa. So there's pluses and minuses. So what the real situation is is the balance and the flow of the unit. It's not a negative on Hart versus a positive on Precious. The flow of the unit, first of all, Precious with the starters, we have a very, very small sample size. He's only played 17 minutes with the starters. You take, if Josh Hart is out and Precious in, because Josh Hart don't miss a lot of games. So you only have like 17 minutes with Precious Achiuwa, Towns, OG, McCall, and Brunson. But in the 17 minutes, and they ain't garbage time, they're plus 15. Okay, they're plus 15. So it's not like Precious is going to hurt you by putting him in the 4 spot. So you're getting a guy that could guard 1 through 5. You're missing some playmaking, but your defense picks up. And of course, you're not missing rebounding, which again is one of Josh Hart's strong suits. You're going to have that still with Precious Achiuwa. So, and so you had the height. Now, on the MobbDeep, you have a playmaker, a real legit playmaker in Josh Hart. You have Deuce McBride. You have defense, of course. And you have scoring with Deuce in there. And then, of course, you can add Payne. You could add Shamet. You can add 2 starters. Whatever you want in that 3 guys right there. And you're going to have a positive outcome. So it's about the fit and the flow for both units. If you have a second unit that can flow in terms of they make plays, they can score, and they can guard, you're going to have a really big advantage over most of the teams you're playing. And especially when you get to playoff time. To win the chip, you need the star guys like the Celtics, Tatum and Brown, but you need those Robins, those sidekicks, KP, Jrue Holiday, White. You need those sidekicks. You need that bench piece, Pritchard. You need your bench to come through as well. So the Knicks would have that with those 2 lineups. You have Precious starting with the other 4, and then you have Deuce, Mitch Rob, and Hart. So you would have legit threats coming off the bench. And then, Payne and Shamet have both been shown to be high-level playoff performers. And so Payne was a pain in the behind against Philly last year when he played for Philly. So you have that. And then, of course, you still could have OG with that bench group. You could have Bakal with that bench group. You could even have Cat with the bench group if you want. But that doesn't, I know some of you are pining for the Cat Mitch Rob combo. You could do that too. So you have a lot of flexibility as well as the smoothness of the unit, the flow of the unit staying intact with Precious Achiuwa. Not only that, because you will have Cat starting, you have Mitch as his backup. You still have Precious that can start and add another 5 to the mix if you need one. If somebody, God forbid, nobody gets hurt, but then you get somebody in foul trouble, you have Precious still that could guard 1 through 5. Legitimately, he can guard anybody as a 5. He can guard anybody 1. So you're not losing much. You still have that. So that in effect, you have a Jericho Sims replacement in Precious once Mitch Rob is back. You don't have that with Mitch Rob out. That's why you've been seeing Hoop Porty get some time, because you don't have Jericho Sims, but you got a replacement now with Hoop Porty as a 3rd string 5. Well, when you have Precious Achiuwa, Mitchell Robinson, and Gato, you have 3 legit guys that can play the 5. And so now Tibbs loves a short rotation. So if you got 9 guys, in this case we got 8 solid guys plus Payne and Shamet, and those 8 guys you got 3 centers or 3 guys that can play the 5. Okay, and you got Deuce and Hart that can play. Deuce can play the 1 or the 2. Hart can play the 1, the 2, the 3, but he's usually 2, 3, or 4, right? So you got all of that in your 8 guys plus Payne as a backup point guard, plus Shaman as a backup 2 guard. So you got a really nice mix. You got a really nice bench, strong bench, and you got shooting, you got rebounding, you got defense. You're not missing anything. See, so that is the basis of the suggestion. It's not to crap all over Josh Hart and say what he can't do or he's too short. That has been played out. A dude that's averaging double figures that'll get you 15, 17 rebounds in a game at 6'4", the height ain't a problem. Okay, so some of y'all need to stop. Like I said, before you start putting negativity on here, the point is not to be negative about a guy that wears the Knicks uniform. It's to always be positive for the guys that wear orange and blue. without trying to be negative and put your whatever your belly aching is about. Put that somewhere else. Go to somebody else's channel and put that on there. Don't put it on mine because I don't want to see it. All right? But that's the point of having a case for Precious Achiuwa starting. Again, plus 15 with the same group. I know it's a small sample size, but I'd like to see more of that if I can, because Precious doesn't, and that's what I'm saying. We're not theorizing that Precious hurts the offense. He doesn't. He's showing he doesn't. So that's what we're talking about. So when now hopefully I'm looking for they should all be back in New York now. All-Star game is over. It's 2 days later. Our guys should all be back in New York now. So we're looking for a health report, especially with respect to Mitchell Robinson. We're looking for a health report with respect to Mitchell Robinson. In other words, he's cleared to practice. Like he's been cleared for limited practice, but not 5-on-5. He's cleared for 5-on-5. I really want to see this brother Friday at Cleveland, and certainly Sunday at Boston. That's going to be those two big games. We got Chicago on Thursday. Don't sleep on Chicago. They done traded away Levine. They done traded away, DeRozan signed as a free agent somewhere else. They don't have the same crew, the same big three they had or they were trying to build around. But Kobe White's the real deal. He's a Knick killer from rookie year out of North Carolina. He's been a Knick killer. You still got DeSumbo. They seem to be placing a lot of confidence in Lonzo Ball. So they must believe he's going to stay healthy. And then they still got Vucevic. So we can't sleep on Chicago, but they're coming to Madison Square Garden day after tomorrow. So we got to be ready for that. It's a back-to-back. I don't want to see Mitch Rob against them. I want to see Mitch Rob Friday against Cleveland because the second night of back-to-back, you use him. So we'll see. I do want to get him out on the floor as soon as possible because he's obviously, if you've been watching him, watching his tweets, watching his Instagram, he is chomping at the bit to get back on the floor and prove everybody wrong. And I can't wait to see it. So that's what we're talking about today. That's where please don't come on here with being negative. And please look at the daggone video before you start commenting. Shalom.